Good evening and welcome to the Pizza Roundtable, part of the I Need Pizza Club network, where every Tuesday in the 9 o'clock hour, we talk about some of the best pizza news, happenings, and things going around the general pizza-verse. I am one of your hosts this evening, Jim Mumford, joined by Anna Crucitt and Will Dumas. Hi, everybody. How are we doing this evening?
So
Doing great.
Yeah, everyone looks great. We were talking a little bit beforehand. We have a lot to get into, but I don't want to delay. Anna, you took a pretty big trip the past week. Why don't you tell us all about your wonderful adventures?
I was super honored to be asked to judge the American division of the Caputo Cup. And so I got to go to Naples for a week, and I'm fairly certain that I ate my body weight in pizza. It was pizza. We had a private dinner at Da Michele. We had a private dinner at Sorbillo. We had, pasta and some octopus on the water in Naples. It was just it was wonderful. And the competition was awesome. There were about 39 people, Italians and Americans. I think those were just the two that jumped into the category. And so Emily from Righteous Slice won. And so that was really impressive. She's a young female pizzaiola in Iowa. And so Charlie should check her out. Her pizza was wonderful. Was great.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Have you done much judging before?
I have done judging, but mostly just blind. This was where they presented the pizza to you. It was also very specific. It had to be a certain size, so we had to make sure that that it fell within the parameters of the rules. Some people's pizzas were not big enough, so that was just kind of upsetting, to dock points for that. But then it had to have mozzarella cheese and it had to have tomato sauce. So those were the rules. And outside of that, it could be whatever toppings people wanted. Super interesting this year. A lot. I mean, I'm fairly certain 39 people, maybe 38, topped basil after. So there was no basil pre-cook. That was
Love
a
it.
very common theme. Lots of pepperoni and sausage. Lots of meat on the pizza this year. I only saw 2 with honey or some type of spicy honey on it. So I was expecting to see more from that, but not a ton of vegetables. It was basically either just a cheese pizza or a 1 or 2 topping with meat. So that was the trend of it. Not a lot of people topped things after the fact, after the post bake. I thought maybe I would see some of that. Really, really fun to do.
That sounds incredible. Consider me wholly jealous. I've judged, right? I cut my teeth judging, and I'm sure you felt the same, but I'll ask, was it difficult judging so many similar yet kind of different things where you are nitpicking the size and some things where it's not like it's a give me your best soup and there's a range.
Right.
You are
Right.
so specific, but there's enough variability where you can't just draw a line. I mean, those to me were the worst to judge. I don't know what you thought.
So what I thought was challenging about it was for the 4 categories that we were judging on was the overall appearance, the bake on it, the crust, and then the overall taste. So there were some pizzas that performed. They looked beautiful. The cook was great. The crust was almost perfect. And I did not like the flavor profiles. It still scored so well. And I can sincerely say I didn't really like that pizza. So that was what was so interesting to me. Or there were other ones where the flavors were just so wonderful and rich and complimentary, but it didn't look well, or the bake was a little bit burned on one side or something. So it was like they scored the same, and I loved one, and one wasn't anything to write home about. So that was what was super interesting for me, was that you could still get a pretty high score even if I didn't particularly
Really
like
like
the
it.
toppings.
It's the world of judging. It's tough.
The one thing I wanted to bring in there quickly was I'm going to ask a question, but I did want to highlight, Anna, the post-bake basil. Pre-bake, post-bake basil, as we all have seen before, has been a major topic in the Pizza Club, and many a controversy has come up, and many a friendship may have been lost, actually, over the pre- or post-bake basil. So interesting to see that post-bake was the winner through this. What's the most unique pizza that you kind of saw or tasted then? Maybe that you weren't expecting? if there was kind of a unique combination maybe that came together, even if it's simplistic like.
I wouldn't say that there really wasn't much that was outside of it. I would have to go back to my notes. The thing is too, I can't actually remember who did which pizza.
Right.
So
Gotcha. I
It's
got
so
you.
that
I
was
many.
got you.
like the other part of it where I remember that, I believe Chiro did like something really cool with a pork meat on it, and it was very delicious, but there was something else sweet on it. I wrote everything down, and the other judges that that were next to me, they were saying that they try to forget, that was something that they don't want to remember, because then it's like holds into your opinion of other pizzas that you judge.
Hmm,
So because then it'll start setting parameters around how you judge. So I was like,
makes
okay, it's a
sense.
watch. I'll write it down. I'll be able to look at exactly what I was thinking in that moment. But then I wasn't like pondering after the fact. And because I said to
Cool.
him, "You judged so many pizzas. What do you remember?" And he's like, "I really don't remember anything." And I thought that's a very interesting take on it. I just remember if I liked the pizza or if I didn't.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
fair. It's
notes
fair.
for judging in the future, Jim. I don't know if you're going to take any of these away for yourself then. When you got some cook-offs to work and judge.
Yeah, right. I mean, yeah, I did a gumbo cook-off recently. It was the same thing. I couldn't tell you any of it, right? Because there's so many, and you take notes. And no, I love it. Well, how fun!
Yeah,
Welcome
it's
back.
great.
Well, welcome back stateside. You always get to go on these adventures. We saw all the pictures. And it looked incredible. So congratulations. By the way, Thai basil you bake on. Italian or American basil is post bake. My
Got it.
opinion. That's just me. I'm no expert. All right. Well, we have 6 wildly different articles this evening, and I am going to go to the first one that Will came up with. I'm going to let Will talk about this one because
Boy.
I had to see it, so you have to explain it. Talk to me about the pizza log in Buffalo.
Yeah. Jim, I'm not gonna lie. I got this one because it was slightly unique in that I've never experienced the pizza log before or understand in any way how this is considered a pizza item or a pizza adjacent item at all. But to talk about it, I mean, it is quote unquote cheese and pepperoni wrapped in some form of eggshell wrapper. That is then wrapped in bacon. It is then grilled to add a little bit of crisp and char to the concoction, I'll call it. It is then slathered with barbecue sauce and it is served with a blue cheese, just like your Sunday style pizza.
Yeah. First off, courtesy of WYRK, which I go to for all of my pizza news. My favorite part is you probably had pizza logs if you lived in Buffalo for any period of time. I've never heard of a pizza log before in my life. This is something. Anna, you live the closest to Buffalo, the three of us. Have you heard of a pizza log?
No,
No?
I haven't.
Yeah.
And I it doesn't particularly even look like a pizza log. So I think, is it just like if it has cheese and there's no tomato,
I didn't remember seeing tomato in it. It was just cheese and pepper.
cheese and pepperoni.
Yeah, it it reminds me a little bit of like a pepperoni roll from West Virginia. I mean, if an egg roll, that's a dry, almost like a pasta, right? It's a wonton. Uh,
Yeah.
listen, if I've had a few and you put one in front of me at 1 a.m., would I eat it? Yeah, I would. I'm gonna be honest with the world here. Am I gonna seek that out when I drive to Western New York? Boy, it's the barbecue sauce that gets me, right?
The photo, maybe it's the photo, Jim just
Yeah,
doesn't do
I
it
wanted to
justice.
say, but I didn't want to be rude. I mean, could you have taken a different picture or at least published a different one? I'm really curious. Like I don't know what I'm looking at, and I mean, maybe that's just what it looks like. Maybe that is a really beautiful picture, and I don't get it though. I don't think that I would ever call that a pizza.
No, it's
See there would
yeah,
struggle on calling this any form related to a pizza.
yeah. Uh, Union Pub, by the way, if you're in town. You know, it I mean, it sounds like a pizza log is a thing, which is like a pizza egg roll, and then they wrapped it in bacon with blue cheese and barbecue sauce. So it's a thing on a thing, I guess. I I thank you for bringing this one up, Will. I'm glad I got to see this pizza log.
My
Yeah,
sister-in-law
no,
is from Buffalo. I'm going to ask her about this.
I think that's the next step. Here, Anna's understanding: do others in Buffalo make this, or is this unique? Like, is this the mozzarella stick of Buffalo that people just come to order? I'm feeling no, but I want to be. I'd be shocked to find out that it is.
I asked 4 different people who live or have lived in Buffalo if they've ever heard of a pizza log. And no. The answer was no.
I wanted your answer to be different.
No. I wanted a testimony. I was like, what the heck's a pizza log? There's like a pinwheel. Like, no, it has barbecue sauce.
Jim, the only other thing I wanted to highlight is I did know that the header for this was pizza log, but if we scroll down a little bit, it does reference it as a transit pizza log right there. Meets a transit pizza log. I don't know what the extra transit component exactly is for that, but I just in case your questioning needs to be revised to your fellow, are they Buffalonians? I'm not sure, but in case you need to make it more distinctive than just the pizza log, we're actually inquiring about the transit
The
pizza log
transit pizza log.
in case there's multiple varieties.
It
Yeah,
also says that it had to take an Instagram worthy photo of it.
I'd love to see the Instagram worthy photo if it's
That's the
available.
one. That's the one they said they had to do it.
That's not it. That's like the MySpace photo. That's not
Yeah,
an
yeah,
Instagram or
that's the one you
TikTok
get in the
photo.
Google reviews on page 4. Listen, I say I would try it. Listen, you have a thing, a pizza log, you're adding to it. It's a transit pizza log. There's a joke in there I won't make, but I love it, and good on 106.5 for bringing this up to the world. So thank you, boy. I probably should not let off with that because everything else is going to be kind of a hard one, but
Pizza, kind of a pizza.
kind of a pizza. But I wanted to bring up
That's
this.
good.
Yeah, kind of a pizza. Well, this one's kind of a pizza, but it's not kind of a pizza. So this one also courtesy of Tasting Table. We are going to go to the freezer aisle here. Review Tombstone's French fry style crust pizzas are the ultimate hybrid comfort food. This came up like 4 different ways in 4 different articles. Let me read this. I want to get everyone's take. So, enter Tombstone, major player in America's frozen pizza scene. 2 flavors, chili cheese and loaded bacon cheddar. So let's just kind of dive in. What are these? They look like pizza, but one thing is different. Instead of being made with a wheat crust, the crusts are made from potato-based starch, potato flakes, for a bite that should feel and taste like a pile of crispy French fries loaded with toppings. I want to go to Anna. What do you think? First off, where are we?
I mean, I feel like the fact that it's a frozen pizza is like knocking it down a little bit in my mind. But if some pizzaiolo was putting this together and executed it correctly, I feel like it would be very delicious.
Will Rabo?
You know, I'm down to try it. I feel like the comparison to the fry is tough just because the loaded fry idea is not just like the toppings, it's kind of like the texture and the way they kind of eat it and play with it. And I just don't know how that's going to really come out in the pizza to really pick that up in the dough. I think that's where I'm struggling to see how it's going to hit that way.
I would like to see that like a fried pizza and then topped. So like the
Yeah,
French fry crust was like, fried up in French fry,
Yeah,
like a fry.
like
that
a
is
fry.
exactly what I was going to say. Is give it to me like Montanero style, right? Where you flash fry it and then you bake it and you top it with everything. Now, again, if someone's doing this an artisan way, that's different than the Tombstone. I'm going to give you a couple things I love about this first. Gluten-free, right? So a lot of gluten-free pizzas are pretty questionable. Potato starch, gluten-free. I love that. Second, it says that the toppings are, mixture of bacon and pork belly. These aren't, bacon with two ends, right? This is real meat, which I respect. And this looks fairly crispy, right? So $6.49 a piece. That's pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
They go on, they do their taste test, passes, right? They say it's actually pretty good stuff. So I think I know I agree with both of you. I would try it. I think that's fun, right? It's a great gluten-free alternative. It's got a hook. I kind of want to try to do this myself, right? Make one big like gnocchi, right? Flash fry it and then top it. I think that would be really good. Um, for frozen pizza, I don't know. Listen, you got to start somewhere. Would I rather just do the fries in the air fryer and do my own? Probably, but it's fun. It's not hurting anyone. So I think I'm in. I like it. It's definitely a step up from the transit pizza log.
I'll say when I read the headline, one of the things I would have thought, just from all the different like crust kind of variations that we're seeing in a lot of pies right now, I think we'll talk about them later on, was I thought there was going to be some kind of fry component, perhaps like baked into the crust.
Yes.
It was going to be a tear away, a pull away, something like that. And I think I was a little just let down initially from seeing it. Like everyone's been driving crust items, and that's what I thought we were going with. And I was like, not quite the case, which I thought would have been the thing here. But
Yeah,
can't
I
hate it till I try it, I guess.
can't hit it till you try. Oh, it looks crispy. It's got a little chew to it. So I don't know. Listen, the texture on this one, I'm not even gonna like try because it could be amazing. It could be like a 3-day-old waffle fry. But interesting. Definitely an interesting one. So Anna, I'm assuming that you're gonna try to replicate this tomorrow. When you go in, pick up some potato starch,
Writing
and
it down.
she
I
actually
am.
looks like she is.
I'm
Let's
writing
see.
it down. I
I'm
just
taking
got an
notes for it.
idea
Good,
for
good.
something. I just had to write it down.
Nope. Now you're committed. You gotta show the world your
Yeah.
French fry pizza.
If you're
I feel
inspired
like
to
I could
make
do it. I mean, it's a
something,
gluten-free pizza. I already had like a couple of thoughts in my head. I have a fryer. I feel like I'm just gonna go for it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of first of its kind pizzas, we're gonna kind of stick with kind of alternative crusts here. It comes to us full courtesy of All Recipes. Papa John's is launching a first of its kind pizza, but there is a catch. This new first of its kind pizza is a croissant pizza. Again, first reactions being nothing else. We're going to start with Will because I know Will loves a good croissant. What do you think, bud? First reaction.
yeah, I am interested in trying it. And I don't think I'm gonna like it.
Anna, what do you think? First reaction.
My
Right
first
off the gut.
reaction is that can't be bad, right? That's what I
Okay.
first initially thought. And then I thought, of course it can be bad because they're going to overbake that croissant. It's going to be too dry and flaky. It's going to get all over my mouth and hands when I'm eating it. I'm going to get a little bit mad about it. So I'm not sure. So I thought, ooh, that could be done well. That could be very delicious if it's done correctly. Not sure, Papa John's. I don't know.
Yeah. So this is just right now in Dubai. So kind of a ride if anyone wants to try it. But it features a braided, buttery, flaky golden crust. And everything else looks pretty standard. I think I'm with both of you and yet not. I think this would actually be pretty good, right? And here's why. Because this is going to be pre-made, right? No one in the store is going to be making a croissant. So with that, the margin for error is minimized, right? So if it is a decent pastry that they start with, that could be kind of interesting. I think though it's going to be really greasy. I don't know, just the texture is just the outside of croissant, is the bottom right crumb a croissant also, because if it is, it's just going to get soggy. Is this, I don't know. Would I want to try this? Absolutely. But at that point, this is just a pizza galette, right? I think I mean, it is, right? That's all this is. You basically take a French pastry and put on pepperoni, which I know some people on this planet could make delicious. Would Dubai Papa John's do it? I don't know. At least they've got the garlic sauce there just in case either way, right?
I'm with you on the bottom. Like the undercarriage is where I think this
Everything.
is gonna go astray. And I was thinking almost, Jim, like you and I were talking about a couple of weeks ago, I think the Colorado mountain style pie with this
Yeah.
like braided kind of big crust, but I don't think that's what we're gonna get. And I can appreciate the texture of this croissant end is gonna be like on the bottom, and that's where I'm getting no, I'm backing away from that. That's
Just
the funky part.
I can't see how that bakes like
Yeah.
correctly. With the
Exactly.
toppings, it's gonna be either underdone. If it's par baked and they're topping it, it would be too dry. I don't know.
That's a great point, right? Because that almost the whole thing almost has to come par baked, really.
Right. With the
Right.
toppings on
Yeah,
it and
yeah,
all.
I agree.
What
Interesting.
if we laid out like a regular base, let's say, right? So we stretch it down, we lay it, we kind of like do the little snake roll of croissant dough where you're kind of rolling it out long and then you're kind of layering it around the outside and we're creating the rim with the croissant style and on top of our standard pizza. I don't think that's gonna happen, but if I just invented the reason that I needed to make it, that would be the way I would
So
go, Jim.
didn't Christy make this a thing 1 or 2 years ago, right? Where we cut it and then we rolled the crust onto itself. It was a thing. I forget what she called it, but you could do that with a more flaky dough. I think you could get pretty close at home. So I think you're onto it. Well, I forget what she called it, but it was
Hey,
it was exactly
Padella,
Pizzella. Yeah, that's what it
something
was.
like that. I couldn't remember what it was.
And you do that with like a Chicago style dough, something with a little more oil. I think you could get something that's actually palatable.
Thanks, Anna, for trying this out for us again tomorrow. We really
I
Yeah.
appreciate
wrote
it
it
going to
down.
work.
So,
I'm curious. I have nothing to do tomorrow. So this is it.
well, there you go. We're gonna stick with Chicago style doughs. Yeah, I nailed that one. We've got two Chicago style kind of stories. One a little more, I would say, sad, but I wanted to talk about it. So, it's courtesy of Black Club Chicago. My Pie, deep dish pioneer to serve its final pizzas after more than 5 decades. So, My Pie by Loyola on the north side of Chicago. It's been around since 1971. Largely is considered one of the best deep dishes on the planet. I mean, truly. They got 3 locations now, all over the city. But I just kind of want to just stop there. I Anna, Will, just by a long shot, have we heard of My Pie? Are we familiar with kind of this vibe that they're slinging there?
I feel like I want to say yes. I have heard of it, but I've never had it before. I don't think.
Will? Yeah. So I'll tell you, My Pie is one of my favorite pizzas on the planet. Heartbroken. Very good. Different than your heavy, I would call it tourist deep dish, right? There's art to this. There's certainly
Beautiful.
there's layers. The crust is not huge, right? This is a piece of pizza. This isn't a casserole. And a little bit heavier on the tomatoes, a little bit lighter in the cheese. So it's a little more balanced. So absolutely obsessed with it. Sad to see them go, but they're perfect shot, right? So one of the lighter deep dishes you'll have with definitely an artisan's touch, which is pretty amazing. So sad to see them go.
They aren't
In,
going to sell it? Nobody
uh,
wants to buy it?
I reach out to people who were in the know. Uh, I fear that this is one of those, right, where it was a family business that they don't want, they kind of want just to end with the family. So his dad gift birthday, but I get it, right? So yeah, sorry to see him go, but they have certainly inspired a lot of the best in the city.
Can you go back up to that slice for a moment?
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
must say, like, Chicago pizza doesn't always catch my eye, but this one looks pretty good. And as you
Beautiful.
noted, it's lighter. It does not look like that super thick. Like this looks like a slice. It's heftier than I would normally dabble in, but it looks pretty good, man.
Yeah.
I'm interested in this one.
A lot more balanced, right? And you'll find, as we'll
Yeah.
talk about in the next article, right? You've got your, I don't want to say tourist places, right? But your regional chains, right? Which is going to be the big, heavy, those are lovely. Then you've got more of the artisan styles like this, which, people say they don't really like deep dish. They haven't had this, right? Because it's different, it's heavier. But I mean, this is half tomatoes, right? This is, flavor on flavor. So let's say sad to see him go. I hope they find a way to continue in some way, but their legacy certainly will carry on from. So
Just
yeah,
remind me in the sense, just Chicago pies and Anna, just to go off tangent topic for 1 second. There's such a long bake, right? In general for them. I mean, does that not impact volume and what you can do, Anna, from a seating capacity, just like conceptually? Like, is the Chicago model flawed nowadays relative just to like what people are doing if you're eating them in this way, you know?
I think they're just priced for it. You're priced for
yeah,
the little turnover that you get on it. And from what I can tell, um, it's like the restaurants are pretty big. They have a lot of seating capacity in them. So I don't think I've been to a Chicago pizza that did this style that was just like 40 seats. I just
Grab
don't
and
think.
go.
and they have those. So I'll say three other things. First off, you're not going with one other person. You bring an entourage, right? Because you have to feed this pizza. So yes, right, but you're going to have 6-8 people. These places bang out appetizers like you wouldn't believe. And again, I'm not a restaurateur, but if I'm going to sit at a table for an hour before my pizza comes, I've got salty appetizers they're going to get you. How many beers are you going to drink? How many? So you're right. This isn't a grab and go pizza. And, I'll say it once, I'll say a million times. The average Chicagoan isn't going to eat this every week, right? Because it doesn't carry out as well. It reheats different for all the reasons. But yeah, I think you said it, right? Places are huge. They price for it, they plan for it, and they've got a model to accommodate it. And certainly there's no shortage of, especially some of those regional chains.
Yeah, I know. I just struggle with the idea that I feel like we see such small formats for everything coming up that it's just like it's a tough one for me to put in there, right? To say like this is a big space, big style pizza, and we just see so many like small form stores coming out for kind of pizzerias in general. I think it's just a
I think it's
unique
why you
disposition
don't
there.
see too many. Even they're not like popping up. You
No,
don't.
no, no, no.
The concept of it isn't just like carried on over. It's very specific to that region and that area because people know it and they're okay waiting for it.
Right.
And yeah,
Because you got all those tourists from out of town who have nothing else to do with them. I'm not wrong. So this leads you to my next article, and it's tasting table. I'm going to try to do this as unbiasedly as I can. I will fail. New York versus Chicago style pizza. Not necessarily Chicago style. All right, I'm doing great. Which one really reigns supreme? Regional food preferences comprise deeply personal, fiercely protected terrain. So far, so good. So asking whether someone prefers New York style or Chicago style beer better is not easy. You've got some famous quotes. So to get to the bottom of this, Tasting Table conducted an inclusive poll. In the roundup of the 14 best stops for New York pizza, so an article about New York pizza, they asked the readers whether,
New York,
yeah,
outside of New York,
okay,
so
but an article about New York style pizza, they asked the readers whether they preferred New York pizza, the topic of the article they are reading, or Chicago style pizza. And the results are in, unsurprisingly, with a whopping 83% of the vote, is a landslide victory for New York pizza fans. Chicago style 11%. I want Anna's perspective on the ability to conduct a proper survey.
I failed statistics. Come on now, I have no idea. Yeah, for me, like I like what we just talked about with Chicago style. It's regional. And there's unless you've grown up eating this and it's just like near and dear to your heart, I would say Chicago style is a far stretch for being a better style than New York. I grew up eating New York style. most everybody else did too. And so, of course, you're going to be like, that's my default, because you're going to think of the mom and pop shop, the New York style slice that you've been eating growing up. And I didn't eat Chicago. I have not ever had Chicago style pizza outside of Chicago. So I'm not going to say that that's the one that I prefer, although I love it. I do. Not my preference.
Okay. Okay. Thanks for being on the show, Ann. Will, how what are your thoughts on the ability to conduct an unfair and unbiased survey?
I'm the middle ground
I
here.
know you are.
On the good use of polling or bad use of polling, kind of critique here. I don't know if I would say this is a good use of polling, but I will say, like, it sounds to me like the jury's in here, man. New York reigns supreme, so as expected. I will say, I think it is tough for when we think general pizza styles. I think people think deep dish. When you get more into the no, I could see there being some more competition, perhaps with the tavern style, and that 11% ranking may have come up a bit higher if that's what we wanted to say. But that's the only kind of gift I'm giving you here, Jim. Otherwise, New York is
Yeah.
still gonna take it home, man.
No, I'll take the L here. And listen, if I had to vote between the average this, right? If I had to vote between this, right, the average Chicago deep dish and a really good slice of New York, I would pick the New York, right? I will say that honestly. But right, you ask if you were, if Block Club Chicago were to do this, I bet we flipped. But so I get they're not wrong, right? New York style, all in all, is generally probably a little bit better. It's a little more finesse. There are excellent versions of each. I think if you took right a my pie against a really good, New York slice, I think that might be tougher. So I get 2-1. I will go ahead and take the loss. Here's the other thing. So the remaining 6% of voters said neither type of pizza was especially better than the other. And they say that's a hot take, but again, a little, as a budding journalist, try to be a little unbiased, but I guess I failed at that. But no, interesting article.
You take the 6%, man. Put it on your team. You can have whatever
I can have the
17%
6%.
now. Feel free.
Thank,
It's all yours, dude.
thank goodness that'll save us. No, great article by Tasting Table as always. Thank you, Autumn, who I looked as she is from New York, just if you were curious, where she was from. All right. Last one, speaking of superheroes. How did I do that? PizzaMarketplace.com. Little Caesars teams up with Marvel Studios for pizza release. Read this whole one before you form your opinions here. So Little Caesar teamed up with Marvel Studios to create the Fantastic Four in one pizza, celebrate the release of Fantastic Four. Pizza, 8 slices, 2 each of cheese, pepperoni, Italian sausage, and bacon, and pepperoni and jalapeno. We'll start with Anna. Anna, thoughts of 4 different, I'm assuming, pizzas being cut and put into one product?
I think it's cute. I do. I mean, usually you see half and half. That's a stretch. I think to do 4 well is also a stretch, but I think it's a cute concept.
Yeah. Will, what do you think?
Think anyone's actually going to get a pizza like this that is completely segregated when it actually gets to their house or gets baked. So, like, yeah, I think this one looks cool. And I think
It
there's going
looks
to be
great.
I think it's going to be a showdown between the kid that doesn't want the like pepperoni piece but wants the other one with the jalapenos on it because it's not sliced right or doesn't get the sausage. So, like, I see a fight. I see a battle with the final 4 at their house after this. But otherwise, it's cool, man. It's unique. Good. I don't know if I feel the connection to the Final Four, but again, I'm not a comic book person, but I think the idea is cool, so I can appreciate it.
Yeah,
Yeah, is pizza written into the storyline like the or like
I'm a borderline Marvel nerd. No, it is not.
okay.
But I listen. It's a fun gimmick, right? There's 4 in 1, and it. But I'm with you, Will. There is no way someone's going to meticulously like I put bacon on this piece. Like listen. We all know what this is. Also, you're gonna have to just 4 different. Like I'm used to half and half, but cool marketing and practicality. I don't think anyone's really going to get this because you're
What's the
getting.
size of it?
Little Caesar's Hot and Ray's 14-inch generally. It doesn't say,
Feel like
but I'm assuming, right? Yeah,
What was the cost of this class?
$7.99. So it's not
Okay,
bad,
yeah,
right?
maybe a medium,
Yeah,
I'm
medium.
assuming then.
Yeah. So fun concept. Doesn't really hurt anything, but I'm with you. Just cool picture though. I thought the quad cheese pull was a nice, so we'll take that. Little Caesars, you nailed that one. So
Right.
lovely. Well, I think that is all the articles that we were going to talk about this evening. Will, where can we find you on social media?
Check me out at Funny Will. I'm there talking about pizza sometimes.
Sometime, well, most of the times. Anna, where can we find you personally and pizza Oli?
So my restaurant's at Mercurius PGH, and my Instagram is Anna.Crucitt.
Both incredible follows, if I may say so myself. I am Jim Cooks Food Good, wherever you get your content. Of course, we are the I Need Pizza Club, Instagram, YouTube, wherever you like to get your podcasts. Please check us out, like, rate, subscribe, tell your friends, tell them to tell their friends. And please join us for the after show on Clubhouse in about 2 minutes. And every Tuesday evening in the 9 o'clock hour Eastern, 6 o'clock hour Pacific, we will be back here doing another Pizza Roundtable. Thank you all.
Yeah.
Have a good night.